blatant disregard of the law, according to the DPP. So now it's a matter of wait and see for the arrest of Mike Mbuvi Sonko. And then, of course, questions now abound if and when this case becomes very active and he is forced to leave office, what happens? Nairobi County does not have a deputy governor. The speaker was just reinstalled the other day. What scenarios are we looking at here in Nairobi County? And that's why I need to speak to lawyer Dunstan Omari, who will be speaking to us shortly. Duncan Okatch, rather, beg your pardon, lawyer Duncan Okatch, who's joining us by way of phone to just take a look at what are the possible scenarios for Nairobi County. Duncan, good morning. Thank you for joining us. First, this charge is leveled against Mike Mbuvi Sonko by the DPP, and of course, going ahead to mention that there was a lot of intimidation as they were working around this case. What are your thoughts?
Thank you so much. Indeed, my initial thoughts on those particular complaints by the DPP or warnings, it actually spells the fact that this is a high volatile case. It's a high voltage case, as we commonly refer it to. And it is a case that even the DPP itself is appreciating the effects of the case, in as far as this is a governor that is it's widely said that he has a large following. Just when you had been summoned at the EACC, you could see that particular part of the city was actually brought to a standstill. And it actually spells fear that even in terms of the prosecution itself, his supporters may actually cloud the court. But it also goes further and tries to tell us that there were some underhand efforts to try and interfere with the investigations or with the efforts of actually preferring these particular charges. So he's actually trying to allude to the fact that he wants to see a fair trial, devoid of any influences, political or otherwise, from the governor himself, his supporters, or politicians.
Big question, given that we are aware of the state of Nairobi, almost 2 years now, governor has been working solo without a deputy. We have seen a lot of drama around the speaker. She was just reinstalled the other day. Kenyans are now quite wondering what possible scenarios are we looking at with this high volatile case, as you mentioned, against the governor for Nairobi.
Indeed, that is the first question that will come to the mind of any lawyer or even any person living in this particular city, because we already have a case in point. That is the Kiambu governor's case. And indeed, the court
people go like double L, not single L.
Very, 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 very soundly in that particular case. And the court stated, without mincing its words, that once you are charged on offenses that touch on actions that were done when you are in office, you cannot possibly continue to remain in that particular office during the pendency of that case, as there are high chances that you may interfere just by virtue of you being in that office, not only with the documentation around it or any evidence, but that you may further interfere with even witnesses around the matter. So to that particular extent, the court has rendered itself. There is an appeal. The Court of Appeal has not overturned that particular decision in its ruling, such that that is the legal position. What then abounds is that in Kiambu, at least there is a deputy governor who can formally step in to deal with those particular issues. But remember, the court never pronounced itself and said that once you are charged, you cease from being a governor. It is not one of the aspects contemplated by Article 181 of our Constitution in terms of how a governor or that particular seat becomes vacant. So the court cannot even declare that particular seat vacant on account of this. But they say in terms of discharging the particular role of governorship, you cannot do it, especially as you are going to the office that has been indicated that it will be the seat of the governor. However, coming to Nairobi, it is a unique situation whereby we do not have the deputy governor in place. The fact that we do not have the deputy governor, the question that begs is that can this seat then truncate to the speaker, such that the Constitution has indicated that where the governor or the deputy governor are not able to discharge their mandate for one reason or another, then the speaker will actually assume that particular seat for a limited period of 60 days. Those 60 days are to ensure that elections are actually organized and the people of that particular county can actually elect a governor. Legally, as I look at it, we are not in that particular situation in Nairobi at the moment, because the seat of the governor cannot be said that it has fallen vacant by virtue of a prosecution. What can make it fall vacant by virtue of this prosecution is if the county government, the county assembly actually pushes a motion, and when they push a motion that is an impeachment motion, they can have one of the reasons as the fact that they suspect that, or they have this particular reasonable belief that the governor has been involved in these criminal activities. The Constitution is very clear that all they need to have is this reasonable belief that the governor has been involved in criminal activities. And once they have that and they push an impeachment motion and it is approved and the Senate also stamps its mark of authority, then this particular seat will fall vacant. At that particular stage, it is automatic that it will then be the deputy governor who will take, not the deputy governor will take this particular seat. Now that we don't have a deputy governor, it will be the speaker. And once the speaker takes the seat, we have a by-election. But as we speak today, we are not at that particular position. We are not going to say that the seat of the governor will fall vacant upon arrest or upon prosecution unless he is convicted.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Duncan Okatch, lawyer.